Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Ty Christensen. I'm a fat, overweight loser, and we've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
I can't think of a good quote, but
Are you kidding me?
what?
No, nothing. I was saying, he's like, sorry, continue.
Oh my gosh, that's a horrible quote. Jeez. Dang it, Ty took mine, so I can't even think of one. I'll just say hello today.
Oh, you should do the who's gonna play me? I think I should play me.
All right, we've got Cameron Mickle.
You are what you love, not what loves you.
That's right.
Yeah, that was deep.
And we have a guest. We've got Zack Montgomery.
Hello. Yeah. Back for another sad and depressing movie.
Yes, yes.
Oh, wait a second. Zack, is this the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Yes.
That is me.
I recognize your voice, but I didn't see the video last time, so I didn't recognize you. But I did
I don't
recognize...
think we did video last time. This is a whole new setup.
Yeah.
Well, and
yeah.
you might not have recognized Zack anyways, because he's grown out his hair, and he's just got a whole new look.
It's going for the whole depressed Charlie Kaufman vibe, right?
Oh.
No, Charlie Kaufman's got curly hair. Zack's got the 80s.
I was more thinking of Jim Carrey and Eternal
okay.
Sunshine, where well, I don't know, I guess
yeah.
his hair wasn't necessarily that
Yeah,
long,
I'm
but yeah, wearing
past
the
that
beanie
point.
and
I hit that point like a year ago.
yeah. Today we're discussing Adaptation. This movie came out in 2002. It was directed by Spike Jonze. It was written by Susan Orlean
And Charlie Kaufman.
Susan Orlean, I guess, did the
book. Yeah.
Right. And it stars Nicolas Cage, Meryl Streep.
Wait,
Chris
Ty, you gotta say
Cooper,
Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage.
Did anybody
Stars
else have
Nicolas
to look
Cage.
up if he actually had a twin brother at the beginning
I
of the
did.
movie?
Absolutely.
I did the
absolutely
first
did.
time too.
After I saw the movie, I was like, how much of this is real? I'm
No,
so
well, it
confused.
came like at the beginning opening scene. Yeah, like it has like Charlie Kaufman and what's his brother's name?
Donald Kaufman.
Donald. I
Kaufman.
love
Like
Donald.
has like an opening credits. I'm like thinking like, does he have a brother? Like do they work on like? So I looked it up then, and so I kind of ruined it for myself. But
Yeah, I looked it up at the very end because I was like, I'm very curious to know how much of this is real because, again, I've never seen, other than Eternal Sunshine, I've never seen any of Charlie Kaufman's movies.
you're missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And, well, now I've seen this and Being John Malkovich, so I'm quickly going through. And then I do want to see that one movie. What was it called?
I'm thinking of ending
what's it
things.
called? I'm Thinking of Ending Things. That's the one.
That
Yeah,
one's really sad and depressing.
Yes.
Right.
No,
right,
but
I
it
bet.
even goes further in Synecdoche, New York. Oh my gosh.
I've seen parts of Synecdoche, but I haven't finished it. So
I think the only Charlie Kaufman movie I haven't seen is what's the one with the caveman?
Nature something.
Yeah,
Human nature.
that sounds right.
It also stars, I think I probably mentioned Tilda Swinton, Chris Cooper. It's got Lightfoot, Roger Willey, Jim Beaver, Kara Seymour, Doug Jones, and the gang. But I can't forget, is it Peter? No. Who's the old guy that works at the... Oh, wait, no, you know what?
Well,
I'm
and the
actually
guy from
confusing
Office
the two.
Space.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, but I forgot. Yeah, he's in, maybe I already read his name. I didn't see him. I can't remember his name, but I only know him from Office Space and like one other movie.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast? Let's start with you, Jordan.
So sadly,
You've been
the first
clamoring
time,
for us to watch this for years now. So.
well, sadly, the first time I watched it, I didn't enjoy it as much because I actually watched this before being John Malkovich, and I just think they complement each other. And
I don't know. I think it's so interesting that you told us to watch Being John Malkovich and then this movie because I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was a sequel to Being John Malkovich, but
it
that's
just
the
has
way
a-
you made it sound.
it just all it has is an extra layer, and I just feel like it's fun to watch them back to back because it's like, oh my gosh, those little things from that movie. Like I was like, I don't understand some of this. Like I just didn't realize there was deeper meaning, and it was like meta, and it was about Charlie Kaufman. Like I didn't know the actual writer was Charlie Kaufman of this movie. So I didn't realize like any of that. So first time watching it, I just thought, oh, it's an interesting movie.
He did the cardinal sin. He put himself in his own playwright.
Yes. And now watching it, I absolutely loved it. I saw it twice for the podcast, and I just enjoyed every minute. Actually, I rewatched all of Nicolas Cage scenes 3 times just because I was laughing so hard at just His interaction with his brother, Ty, I don't know if you think of this, but I totally think of you as Donald. Minus the part, I think you would be a better screenwriter, but you totally remind me of Donald.
What are you
He's just a
talking
very...
about? Donald, like, hit it big. I
Yeah.
love his stuff.
Big,
The
yeah,
three,
dude,
Jordan.
big fancy
He's
movie.
a
dude,
Michael
the
Bay.
horror thriller, and it turns out the victim, the detective, and the serial killer are all the same person. Dude.
He's like, it's Dressed to Kill. He's like, I like Dressed to Kill.
Where they did like a car or a horse chase car and a
Yes,
horse
that's right.
And
chase.
it's machine versus horse.
Yeah.
Machine versus horse.
All right.
Genius.
How about you, Cameron? What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
It was interesting. This is the first time I've watched it. Might be the last. There's a lot of like interesting parts about it, and I think it's kind of one of those films that like talks about filmmaking in and of itself, which is like I think really interesting. Like I've always thought of like kind of the creative side, like behind Christopher Nolan, all the great directors, of like the inspiration, how much pressure it's got to be to keep following up after like you make great films.
Did this remind you at all, Cameron, of Black Mirror episodes? I just felt like it kind of had that, especially in...
Not at all.
Oh, I'm thinking of Being John Malkovich. I'm sorry, guys. I
Yeah.
keep confusing the two films. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is definitely like depressing, but there were some really good moments, and I think there's like a lot of interesting like under like the surface layer of stuff to talk about. But I don't know, as an overall film, definitely it wasn't one of my favorites.
Well, and what I was saying, Ty, you remind me of Donald, but the main character reminds me of myself a lot, Charlie. Dude, I just like am so caught up in my own head all the time. All these self-loathing thoughts.
It's a very relatable movie, just being stuck in your own head and tearing yourself down, yeah.
Except Zach, we're on the side of Charlie Kaufman. Ty and Cameron are actually more like Donald.
Oh,
They're so
okay.
yellow. That's just their personality is to just have fun, and life is just all fun and games.
I live in my own head.
It's crazy. I don't know what that would be like, you know? Man,
Well,
one pathetic loser.
Jeez.
I'm
Ty was
totally
quoting a
kidding.
movie.
Quoting
Ty
a
was-
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, no, Zach, I would never.
He's
I'm
quoting
actually
Dumb and
insulting
Dumber.
Jordan.
We've
I'm quoting
spoken
Dumb and
for
Dumber.
a total of an hour and a half, and he's already insulting me. Jeez.
No, he's quoting Dumb
Yeah.
and Dumber.
No, just quoting movies. And that, honestly, I actually feel like when I watch this movie, I'm like you guys, Zach and Jordan. I feel like I'm Charlie Kaufman. I'm like, yeah, everyone has those thoughts, you know. But Cameron, why don't you finish your thought real quick?
Yeah, sorry, Cameron.
What was it like watching it?
But yeah, that's pretty much
just-
it.
Would you say that you're at a loss for words, Cameron?
It definitely hasn't put me on the Nick Cage train. I don't give a F how many movies you guys have me watch. It's not getting me on the train, dude.
Stubborn.
Just go watch Raising Arizona, and it'll be fine.
Have you seen Mandy yet, Cameron, or Color Out of Space? I'm excited for you to see those two because they're more in the traditional Hollywood sense movies. But so this one, I gotta say, I'm just like Cameron. This is the first time I've seen this movie, and Jordan kept recommending it, and I didn't know what to expect. I thought this would be like American Beauty meets or Weatherman or something like that. That's what I thought that this movie was going to be. So watching it was really weird, and just like Zach said, I had to look up whether or not I was like, how much of this is true? Like, I didn't even know Charlie Kaufman had a twin, and turns out he doesn't. He's just a representation of, you know, classic Hollywood or whatever, and it's the scrutiny that he feels writing the screenplay. I like the whole story. I think it did a really good job at like addressing writer's block and stuff like that. So I enjoyed those aspects of the movie. But
Is his twin? Is it like the easy way out, or is it what he wishes he could be, or is it both?
yeah, I think it might be like this is it alter ego maybe part of that, but also like the two sides of a coin where it's like it would be the easy way out, right? Because everything he said, it was predictable, right? He said, you're just taking this and it's a recycled plot from another movie, Dressed to Kill. And he's like, but I love that movie, right? And it's like, why not just give the audience movies that they like, you know? But it's like, no, I want to push the envelope. I want to address a really difficult thing as a writer. I want to talk about writer's block. And it's like, how do you go about talking about movies about subconscious? And then, so I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. I have so many questions, though. Like, I was so confused by the end. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's true anymore. I really thought
All
that.
right, what do you got? I'm good at answering questions.
Well, like, for one, so I haven't done any research about this movie other than is just Charlie Kaufman have a twin. That's the only thing I researched because I was like,
He does have a brother, though.
he does have a brother. I don't know if he actually helps him with his stories or if he's ever done a screenwrite. Does he work in movies? Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. I didn't see anything on
He's
that.
going
Right.
to after watching this film. He's gonna.
That's right. Right, his first thriller movie, you know. So
Didn't you think of Split when he was talking about it? That's what I thought.
yeah, he mentioned multiple personality disorder. I thought that was really funny.
I love when he's like, well, Mom says it was, and he's like trying to tell him, he's like, oh, I'll just show it in the film, and he's like, no, he's like, that doesn't make any sense if he's going to be at the police precinct and he's going to be at home writing this. I mean, and he's going to be captured. Like, that doesn't make any sense. He's like, trick
Doesn't make
photography.
Trick photography. We'll just fix it in post, right? Some of my favorite things.
And then he just gets so tired of trying to argue with them. He's like, you're right.
You're right.
No, he said Mom's right. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah, Mom's right.
Mom's right.
So that's all I pretty much have to add about. Yeah, it's only my first time watching it, and it was quite the viewing experience. So, Zach, how about you? What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
I don't know. The first time I just thought it was just very relatable, like I was saying, just where I live in my own head a lot and just trying to like pull yourself out of that cycle downwards. I've had a lot of those periods in my life. And I don't know, just rewatching it for the podcast, I wasn't as blown away as the first time. I don't think you ever really are, but I still enjoyed it. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it was fun, too. Me and Zach were watching all of Charlie Kaufman movies. Like he said, all except one. So
Yeah.
this was
Jordan
amongst that
accuses
list.
me of only liking sad and depressing movies, so... Of course, Charlie Kaufman is my favorite writer now.
Yeah.
So good.
So, what's an example of a really sad and depressing movie? Like, do you watch the Titanic and you got the waterworks
No,
going,
I've
or is
never
this more like?
seen Titanic?
Yeah.
Actually, I started watching like the first couple minutes of it like years ago. I'm like, oh, this is boring, and I turned. I was one of the few I've turned. I never turn off movies, but that one I'm like, I'm not feeling it.
So what? And I was kind of teasing you there. I figure it wasn't Titanic. What's an example of a sad movie that you like?
Eternal Sunshine.
It's his
great.
favorite movie of all time, yeah.
Mr.
Oh,
Nobody.
that's crazy. Oh, is that the one with Jared Leto? I
Yeah.
haven't seen that one.
I love that movie.
Not to be confused with Nobody, which starring Bob Odenkirk, which is it's just a little different.
What's another? Everything is Illuminated. A little sad.
Oh yeah, the Elijah Wood one. I do
Yeah.
want to see that one.
I don't know, Jordan. What else have I?
Well,
watched?
besides Charlie Kaufman movies, I'm just thinking of all of his movies, because those are all very sad, which we've mentioned, and we just love those, like Synecdoche, New York, Eternal Sunshine.
Oh, that Synecdoche was good. You're right. Keep talking. I'll pull up my list of movies I've watched recently and list off all the tearjerkers.
Well, and then obviously I saw The Devil. I watched...
That one's not sad. I guess it's sad, but it's not like the same.
Yeah? What do you mean not sad? Everyone he knows and loves dies?
Yeah, but like the whole time you're watching it, you're not like, you're just like, it's more like a shocking thriller
Yeah,
movie.
it's more.
not like,
Yeah,
the ending is sad, but it's not like the the dominant feeling as you're watching that.
it's shocking and grotesque. It's not really brooding and sad for sure.
Yeah.
Like it is depressing and bleak.
Pan's
at the very
Labyrinth.
end,
Oh, also very sad. Oh my gosh, so sad.
a lot of these movies I haven't seen, and I pride myself in watching really stressful and sad movies too. Like I love watching stressful movies. Like I love Duffer Brothers. Watching both
Oh,
In Time A Good Time and
Uncut Gems.
Oh,
Uncut Gems.
Hunt.
Yeah, it's stressful.
The Hunt,
And The
also so stressful and sad. Oh my gosh.
That's a great movie. Yeah, that is a stressful.
Which
and sad
Jordan
movie.
refuses to finish with me.
Oh.
I just seen it so many times. I need to take a break.
Then why did
Take
you
a
start
break.
it with me, nerd?
So,
Oh, that's
did
great.
anybody ever look up if the guy that does the seminar on screenwriting, is he real?
Oh yeah.
Is that like a real person that he goes to?
I have not done any research. I watched this movie at face value. The only thing I had to figure out was like, does Charlie Kaufman really have a brother, and did he go flying through the windshield of a car? No and no. So there's that. But because I was I was like, I don't know too many movies where the writer put himself in the movie. I don't know too many movies. Now, there's obviously lots of movies that you obviously write about experiences that you know, so a lot of people are projected onto their protagonists. Like Christopher Nolan does this
Or
often.
every
with even
Stephen
people that
King
look
book
like him.
ever that it's always
Stephen
about
King,
a writer.
Yeah, it's always about a writer. Yeah, you write about what you know, and so I'm fine with that. But it was so weird to be like, he literally is called Charlie Kaufman in the movie, and it's him about writing the next story after he just finished John Malkovich, and it's like, I am so confused right now. It's like, is this like the meta narrative. It's like, did this really happen? And he, to his credit, he said like a lot of this stuff was going on in his mind. But I was like, what about the whole noir twist where it's like, let me go investigate this orchid thing?
I don't think the writer would have been
cool. Talked to
cool.
the guy at the seminar, right? And he that's where it started like going off the rails. Like he followed his advice. Like you just have to wow him in the last bit. And you'll be fine.
And so I thought that was funny that the movie did that, right? Because I was like expecting the whole time they wouldn't do it.
Goodness help you if you use a Deus Ex Machina in your movie or voiceover.
Yeah.
And he uses both those.
Both.
The alligator. And then he's using
Yeah,
voiceover. So
touching
funny.
alligator, dude. Yeah, right. And so to me, it's like, is he just trying to be tongue in cheek, or was that intentional, or did he trap himself into a corner? Like, I have so many questions, and I'd love to hear, Charlie, in an interview. Like I said, I haven't seen anything else.
I think a lot of it is like actually what happened, like where he was like trying to get like pitching the movie to that executive, like trying to win the thing, right?
Right. Like all of it seemed very grounded, like I said, until the very end. And at the very end, it turns into this crazy game where my suspension of disbelief completely shattered as soon as like he's in the bayou, he finds them snorting drugs, and like. And then they like threatened to kill him all of a sudden. I was like, what is happening? Like, this never happened. Like, that's exactly when I snapped out of it. So I thought that was weird.
I read, like, after I watched this the first time, I started reading stuff on it. And I guess when he went to go pitch this movie, he thought this was the end of his career. He's like, there's no way they're going to want this. Like, because I think the girl that wrote the book had to sign off on it. And he's like, there's no way she's going to go for this. Like, this. And she did.
Because
that's so wild.
It portrays her as like a bad person. Holy crap! Did you guys? I
don't know. Like,
her.
as far as movies go, she's not that bad a person, but yeah,
well,
just spiraling out of control when her secret gets found out.
Yeah, just like bored with her life, right, and looking for excitement, and she finds it with the Swamp Man.
Contemplates
teeth,
murder. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Wasn't that kind of a crazy reveal though when you find out that it was to remember that he had caused an accident and killed his mom? I don't know. I loved that. That was great.
Yeah, that reminded me a lot of John Malkovich, where, well, again, it's not really explained, but when John Malkovich himself goes into John Malkovich's mind, there's like all this childhood trauma, and I'm like, how much of this is really John Malkovich? Right. How much of that is really John Malkovich, and how much of that is Charlie Kaufman projecting onto John Malkovich? Like, I have so many questions. And again, I haven't done any research, so watching these movies, I'm like, these have been around for years. I'm sure tons of people have torn this movie apart, but I'd be interested to follow that.
So the reason I wanted to know if the seminar guy, like on film writing or screenwriting, if he's real or not, is because there's a point where Donald asks if he's going to be in the movie. And that's the only place he exists is in the movie. Like, as far as I know, like, he's the only made-up character in the whole movie. And, like, the seminar guy, I don't know if it's real or not, but every, like, other main character actually is a real person. Like, even the actors in being John Malkovich, you see them, like, behind the scene, right? Like, when they're being themselves, not acting. And so, it just I don't know, it's just kind of funny to me. Like, am I going to be in the movie? And that's, like, the only place where Donald exists.
Oh, yeah, good point. Well, I was going to say, but what's her name plays as the makeup artist? Cameron, what's
Gyllenhaal.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
But could there have been maybe she would have been made up too, but not as main of a character, but maybe there was a makeup artist from that movie that he liked, who knows?
Right, and then someone else on the set was,
Maybe I'm just trying to defend my theory too much. But
right. No, but like I said, I think it's almost valid because in the end, I have no idea. I came so unprepared. I just watched the movie and I'm trying to explain anything that I understand about it.
You just saw.
It's like I know what I saw, but again, I have no idea what's truth and what's not. I'm just gonna go off of the movie as a narrative whole. Like, I don't know how much of it is tied to reality. Obviously, just had to look up whether or not this was true or not, because I was like, there's not too many movies where they literally are so self-referential, where it's like, I'm the protagonist of a movie. If I write a story, it's like, is this a journal entry? Is this a biography? Like, what is this at all? It's like, no, this is a fantastic story that I wish would happen, or it's what happened in my mind when I was trying to come up with the story or pitch this movie based off this book about flowers. Like, what? Like, I have so many questions. So let's get into two of our favorite things about this movie. Let's start with you, Cameron. What are two of your favorite things about this movie?
I think my favorite thing about this movie is I like the uniqueness about it. I always think it's super interesting when people like self-referential movies, when they're talking about kind of either like the making of the movie, or kind of like what Christopher Nolan does a lot of, like talking about the making of film within a movie, like with Prestige and stuff like that. I just think they did that really well, and that was definitely one of the most interesting things that kept me watching through the first fetching viewing. Goodness, it was pretty slow. And then I think my second
Cameron's on board with that guy at the speech. You will bored your audiences to death.
Yes.
What if it's about a character that nothing really happens to?
Yeah.
Nothing happens in the world. Nothing
Nothing
happens.
happens.
Nothing happens.
Are you effing blind?
Dude, are you blind? Are you alive? Yeah, dude, he just tears him a new one.
I love that guy.
And then my second favorite thing is definitely the relationship between the Cage brothers. Just like they're just really it's kind of fun seeing the differences and how held back and like how different his life is, just because he's not willing to kind of, I don't remember who it was they were talking about. She was like, there's two types of people or whatever, those who like take what they want and those who like don't or whatever. And he's like, and the people who don't like aren't even worth talking about. And like I feel like that's something obviously that Charlie struggles with.
That wasn't being John Malkovich you just quoted.
Oh really? Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's okay. I confuse these two films all the time.
Stands.
It still stands, yeah.
And so you just kind of see the difference of like his lives, because I thought that it was going to be kind of a movie where it's like, oh, it's his alter ego, kind of like similar to what's it called, Fight Club. But in a,
Multiple personalities.
that's why, because it was very self-aware, so I thought I was going to pull that out at last second too. But I think just the fact of their relationship just kind of drives the whole movie, because pretty much any scene that they're in I enjoy, but the rest of it's kind of tough.
Just say it, Cameron. You didn't like
Well,
this
it's a
movie.
book
That's
about
okay.
flowers, Cameron. Well, flowers are great. I think they are.
Yeah, and that one scene with that business guy, gosh, he's the biggest douchebag of all time. Just talking about how you'd have like everyone in the office. Sorry, what were you saying?
So, Zach, what are two of your favorite things from this film?
I liked when it gets to the point in the movie where you see him making up the intros. He decides what the intros of the movies are going to be, and you're like, oh, that's actually what happened. That's how this movie started. Because there was the evolution of all life, right? And then like the van going through the swamp.
Right.
So-
See, and that's where I got confused too, because I was like, they kept talking about it, and I was like, is this just not in chronological order, or are they just, like I said, I was so confused at a few moments in this movie, because I was like, I actually thought they were referring to the Tree of Life, and I was like, that movie, Terrence Malick movie, like, wasn't out yet. Like, I'm so confused right now. Like, I was actually thinking of the Tree of Life movie for a moment there.
Yeah,
Just
that's
like,
what
was he
I thought at the
referring
time.
to? I was like, maybe it was the book of the Tree of Life. Maybe it was the Simpsons sketch where, you know, all the Simpsons gather up on the couch, and there's one where they had this long title crawl where, like, literally a single cell, you know, I don't know, like, creature evolves into Homer Simpson eventually, like, over the course of millions of years. So.
That's like the double meaning, right, of the title. Like adaptation is like life adapting, like the orchids and the bugs adapting to like be reliant on each other. And then like that, adapting the book to a film, right? So,
Right, and I didn't even know that plants adapt. I know about photosynthesis, but that's pretty much all I know. But they're like plants use adaptation or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I guess they do. And then I never caught that Nicolas Cage is a flower pot, you know, in the poster. I'm just so confused. It's like, if that poster confuses you, then, you know, you're like, oh, it's a metaphor for I don't know what, you know. It's like, I'm so confused right now. I have no shame in admitting that this movie threw me for a loop, and I have so many questions. You know what's crazy? I'm going to say this right out. I think I understood being John Malkovich more than I understand this movie.
Yes.
Which John Malkovich has many more things that I would argue are far
Higher concept.
more illogical
Yeah.
and higher concept, but somehow I understood it more
I think
because
this one's more relatable. I don't know.
Well,
I
yeah.
like this one.
No, oh, relatable, sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've never been inside my own mind, and been so far down my own mind that everything I hear is Malkovich, Malkovich. It's crazy. So,
the other thing I liked was
what else
like
you
where he's trying to where he's trying to get work done and bartering with himself. Like, I need coffee. No, I should do some work and reward myself with coffee. I've done that so many times trying to get things done. Like, I can't focus. And I'm like, I want to go do this. And like, no, I should do this first and then I'll reward myself. But yeah,
that's too funny.
that was great.
That's so funny because like maybe these are fleeting thoughts that I have. I must just not be a very organized person because
No, you're Donald. You and Cameron are Donald. Yeah. It's so.
All right. So Jordan, what about you? Two of your favorite things from this movie?
Well, like Cameron, I totally love the dynamic between the brothers. Like, it totally reminds me of my dynamic between me and you, Ty, and me and Cameron, just because you guys are 100% Donald, like I already mentioned, and it reminds me so much of just me trapped in my own head, and these are the horrible thoughts that I have, like, running through my mind, and, like, there's too many experiences, like he had at the restaurant, that I've had with girls, just, like, all these thoughts, and then I start talking to them, and they're like, and I could just see it in their face, like they're not interested, and I'm just like, and it's just like crippling.
Yeah,
and
I'm going to this orchid show. Maybe you could, and then she just like dropped him like a sack of weeds, dude. It was so crazy to change when she knew that he was coming on to her. Like it was all cordial, and then as soon as he invited her to any kind of function socially, it was like, no, not having it.
And I'm totally like Charlie, where I daydream all the time of like, oh, if I just say the right thing, like, oh, we'd be going out and stuff. And so it's like all these scenarios in my head that I'm playing it out. And then in real life, it's just like the most awkward, uncomfortable situations ever. So I don't know. I just feel maybe that's sad to admit that I relate so much to Charlie Kaufman's work, but and then I love up to the ending when him and his brother are like bonding, because I wondered that all the time, like, and he had that same conversation I feel like I've had with you guys, just like, how is it that you can just simply, not be bothered by what people say? And I just feel it amazes me, like how different people are and how personalities are. And it's just, I'm obviously growing up, I was a bit jealous because I felt like you guys were always the more successful ones and just like everything came to you easy like Donald, but it's just interesting to me. So
You were jealous of me when I was a 7-year-old?
Look who's laughing now. Got my own place. Who's successful now, Mama? Who's the coward now, Mama? Yeah, I love it. Let's get into some nitpicks or some questions. So I had lots of questions, to be honest. So I was wondering if you guys thought, like, again, I would say the third act is so vastly different from the first two. Do you guys like that it ends up turning into this real, like, I would call it a movie where it literally is like a noir where they go find out that Meryl Streep is not only like doing drugs with the orchids, but has a secret romantic life and then is willing to actually kill Charlie Kaufman. Like,
yes! How about that scene, Ty?
Yeah,
I mean, it was funny, but it was just, it was just so over the top.
I don't think it was meant to just be like funny. I think that was like his last ditch like effort. Like, I've got to get something thrown together to pitch to these people. This is what I've come up with. I'm going to pitch this now, and that's just what it was. Like, that's why it's so amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny that you mentioned that. So am I to understand that he only came up with the ending because he had to pitch it like to that gross business guy or to the publisher, or not the publisher, Tilda Swinton's character was his manager or whatever, like the Columbia Studios.
She might have been a producer or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, she was either like Columbia Studios or Warner Brothers, something like that, right? She was the executive that was like, oh, okay, we're going to take your story. And so he was like, I gotta level with Meryl Streep and everything. So I enjoyed that aspect where he's like, she's holding something. I loved that whole turn of events, but for some reason I was just like, I don't know. I almost wish the ending was more subtle. That sounds so stupid because I think it was supposed to be.
Well, that's the movies he usually makes, right? Or like the subtle, like, not like over the top endings. But like his movie didn't have a lot of substance. There was like no art. There's no character development. Nothing happened. It's just
Which is why it's so funny because
we needed something.
Right, because I look at Charlie Kaufman's films and I was surprised to see like this one had such high ratings. I understood that critics loved it, but I was so surprised to see that so many moviegoers liked it. But then I'm like, I guess the ending worked for some people because even if they didn't get the whole beginning of the film, it ended satisfying with like this crazy revenge plot, drugs, and a murderous Meryl Streep. Like, I guess what movie goer wouldn't like it? Like, it's 85% of people liked it apparently from audience, and I'm like, I don't know if I found myself among them, because I'm kind of torn, because I do like it, and I almost like the idea that Charlie Kaufman literally wrote the movie at the end, and he was like, I had him end it this way, otherwise I couldn't get the movie sold.
Yeah.
But the first 2 acts were movies that he really wanted to do, that was something subtle, something about flowers, something about how flowers is like shows you the beauty.
Well, it wasn't
I don't
even
know.
what he wanted to do. It was like him trying to do what he wanted to do. He wasn't even succeeding with that.
I love it. He's like listening to the tape of himself, and he's like, it starts with the opening, and then he re-listens to it, and then he's just like shaking his head, and his brother walks in telling his script, and he's like, I literally wrote myself into the story.
I did like that, yeah. So I like those things. It was just so weird and referential, because like I do know that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, that was one of the ones that the audiences as well as the critics liked. Adaptation a few less. I think that the what was the other one? John Malkovich had pretty good.
Yeah, no, all his movies are pretty highly rated.
Well, from critics, sure.
What about, I'm thinking of Ending Things. How did that end up?
Yeah, see, I'm curious about that one too, because I'm looking it up right now.
That one might be a little too sad for some people.
Right.
Well, and it was kind of dubious too, where it was like, I think, like even me and Zack had to watch videos, didn't we? Or we had to look up what the ending meant, because it was so confusing.
We took guesses, and then we looked it up to see if we were right or not.
It's by far his most divisive, because I'm thinking of Ending Things only got 82 from critics, and it had 49 from audiences.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's low for
it was
audience.
the biggest disparity, yeah. Because, like I said, even this movie adaptation, I don't feel like I fully understand it. The very final act had like a very clear, like, oh my gosh, like there's actually a woman that wants to kill me with a gun. She's caught up in this lie about, you know, where her inspiration came from. It was just this, feeling young again, smoking drugs with this drug dealing guy that extracts this from these orchids or whatever, this drug from the orchids. So very, very...
Maybe it did so well is because I feel like there's not as... I mean, today there's so much meta stuff available. I feel like maybe today it wouldn't be as highly rated, but back then I feel like when it was made, it was just kind of ahead of its time.
For sure. Like, this is back in 2002. It's really weird to think of, like, leaving the 90s, and this was a film that Charlie Kaufman was making. And I could tell that a lot of the film snobs love this because they're like, yes, more movies like this. Like, movies like this only get made on Netflix or Prime now. You know, like, these don't become major theater releases. And,
yeah, with big actors? Holy crap, this cast is stacked.
Right. They don't get made this way anymore. And so I think it is really interesting. And Charlie Kaufman obviously had a name.
Stacked is a strong word.
It's got a lot of really big budgeted actors. I'm just saying on a smaller budget, there wouldn't be that many.
Yeah,
It does,
by comparison,
for sure.
Meryl Streep, Chris Cooper, you know, again,
Maggie
all at the height
Gyllenhaal,
of their
yeah.
games. Yeah, for sure.
But stacked is still a strong word.
Just saying.
Dude,
these were big
like,
actors then. Not saying today.
But
Cameron.
yeah. Nick Cage, Cameron, at the time, he was not a meme at this point. I mean, yes, he had movies in his repertoire like Vampire's Kiss.
Has he
But
ever
even then,
not
he had
been a
just come off
meme?
of. No, but like he came off of winning the Leaving Las Vegas. You know, he got like the Academy Award. So like he was a huge star in his own right. So and then playing 2 parts, which is so bonkers. Like I don't know who undertakes a challenge like that except Nick Cage. Like Nick Cage has been in every kind of movie you could possibly imagine. So
What was that other movie we watched where, what's his name? The other Gyllenhaal plays like 2 people. Jake Gyllenhaal, yeah.
He plays 2.
like this-
Enemy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Enemy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like I watched
time.
this thing like breaking down like all the, like the little things he did while playing 2 characters, and he does like little actions as one person, and he reacts to those as he's playing the other person. He just remembers when he did certain things and reacts to it as the other
crazy.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, see,
He did a really good
much
job at
better
that
version
film.
of Adaptation.
No.
No.
No, dude. Like,
cannot
well,
tell me
again,
Very
better.
different
No,
movie. Very different
yeah.
movie.
Very
Other than
different
playing
movies.
the 2 characters, I don't think
Yeah,
there's
there's-
many similarities.
There's the
Because
only
even
similarity.
this movie, because I'll be honest, like I was scratching my head at the end of this, but it wasn't because I didn't comprehend what just happened or what I was looking at. Like Enemy, nothing will prepare you for that ending. Like even if you've watched the whole movie up until that point, you're like, I don't get
There's
it.
multiple
I
scenes
don't
that won't
understand.
prepare you. You kidding me? Like the hallway scene with the spider face lady, and then just like the shot
Right.
of the city, and there's a spider, and you're like,
You think that's a dream, though?
Maybe you
at the
did.
very end. Didn't think that was a dream, but I remember thinking,
Well, not the end,
why
not
is
the
the movie
ending.
ending? Why is the movie ending? I have more
I was
questions than I ever have throughout the entire film. I'm like, I thought they were going to explain
Yeah,
everything.
I've never so
Not
quickly
literally leave
gone
you
to
with
a
the biggest
YouTube video.
cliffhanger.
Just explain
Like,
what
oh,
the
help me
fuck I just-
understand. What is the meaning of this? So I like that. So any other questions or nitpicks you guys had?
Just, I don't know. I think, like, I feel like at sometimes he kind of got lost down his own rabbit hole of, like, being meta and, like, making fun of how boring the movie would be, and it just made it boring. I was like, oof.
I loved it. I loved every minute
Yeah.
of it.
Right. I almost feel like, I wondered if you could somehow trim a little bit of time off. It's like an hour and 55
2
minutes,
hours.
and after a
I was
while...
like,
Is it really?
Yeah, you could have made
it's
this
a charm
movie in an
movie.
hour.
Man, it went by like
Yeah,
that
hour
for
and-
me.
Yeah,
I watched
yeah,
it
hour
3
and
times for
45
this
it was that
podcast.
long. Like I watched it, when was it, Monday? It went by super quick for me.
Yeah.
Right. And it's interesting that you guys say that, because I'm with Cameron. It did feel like it was a long movie. I just remember thinking, like, okay, I get it. Like, I understand the dynamics between the two
Yeah.
brothers. I'm very familiar with her because I have a brother that's very... It's funny that you said that, Jordan, because I literally thought of us. Like, I'm like, okay, there's differences between siblings. I get that. And then just the idea that they can talk honestly with each other. They insult each other. They say... They exploit each other's... Well, not exploit each other's weaknesses, but... They know how to jab and insult one another where it hurts, you know? Like, he's like, oh, you know, you're making this predictable movie or whatever. And you know, he insults him on his writing. And
Yeah, it's
vice
like,
versa.
I need to know how to kill somebody. He's like, my character. And then he gives them this idea, and then he's like,
And then he's like, yeah, that's great. And he goes, no, I was being
joking.
sarcastic. Like, I was joking. That's a dumb idea. And you're just like, oh, okay.
can I still use
know.
it?
Can I still use it?
Except he doesn't
Yes.
where he's like, but he doesn't know the eating part of himself. I'm like, what the
Doesn't-
fuck? How can you not know you're eating part of yourself? On what planet
man.
does that make sense, dude?
Love it. So let's get into quotes from this movie. Do you guys have any quotes? I love that. Cameron, eating yourself. How would he not know?
So weird, dude.
And then they all love the script. They're like, your brother's amazing. How about you have him help you write your script you're working on right now?
Oh my gosh, it's so annoying.
I thought there was a cool moment though. I liked it when he complimented his brother on his script. Like, it was kind of, I felt like his good, like, character arc progression when he was like, hey, that's good. And he was like kind of talking about things. You could tell that it was like hurting him when he's like, oh yeah, and I was thinking about doing this, and like, we're gonna make lots of money. And he's just like, that's great. Like, I'm happy for you. Like, I just felt like that was really cool of him.
Oh, yeah. And I love when he's reading the script, too. He's like, your script kind of makes fun of me. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, it's all right.
Yeah, it's funny. No, I
like
did not.
that.
Okay, out of nowhere, after the fetching guy gets like death rolled by the alligator, and the chick starts coddling him. That was the most random, just like cuss out ever. He's like, "F you, like, you're just a dumb bitch." I was like,
Screw you!
Well, no,
I
'cause
hate you.
She like insulted him how he was insulting himself in his own head. He called him like
Yeah.
old and fat or something, and like that
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
like
she
what he
started
was
calling
saying.
him old fat.
So she
She's like,
hit the nerve that like
Yes.
he like thought about himself. That's why he reacted so.
She
Well,
said
and
outwardly
they
the quiet part,
caused
he said
essentially
out loud,
the
yeah.
death of his brother. Like, they shot
that
him, and then
too.
they were trying to kill them.
Right.
The reason he flew out the window is they got in
what
the
the-
accident is because they were...
Dude, when she's cradling him though, and she's like, "It's over, everything's over. I did everything wrong." He's like, "I want it all back before it all goes so messed up. I want to be a baby again. I want to be new. I want to be new." I was like, "What is happening?"
Oh, Ty,
She's
I cried at
melting.
that scene. Are you kidding me?
Really?
That's so
Oh,
powerful.
you
gosh.
actually
No.
need help.
No, because
You
it's
need
like
psychological help.
you never
dude.
think about that. You never think, I wish I was
Jordan,
home
you
again.
fat piece of shit.
Ty, don't you know that song that you love that's like
You fat fuck.
Yeah, F you, lady. You're just a lonely, old, desperate, pathetic drug addict.
yes. No, that song, Ty, that's like, you turn back time to the good old days, and then it says, like our mamas used to say, or whatever. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
I think about that. We all think about going back when we think of life getting too hard. Like, I do, at least. I think about being a kid
I don't
again.
think about becoming a baby, though. Like, I'm a baby.
I just want to be a baby again.
Well, because you like want your mom taking care of you when things were simpler. Because as you get older,
I think it's like more you have your whole life ahead of you still.
yes, yeah, you have your whole life ahead of you, and it's kind of like the adventure of things not being planned, but it's like making decisions that are too hard to make, And then when you make them, it's like, oh crap, I can't go back now because there's so many ties within this. And
You just
I don't
relate
know.
too much to the director. My brain is thinking about how stressed you are about living a life. You're like, I want to go back so I don't have to deal with my stresses now, so I can deal with them in like 20 years.
Jordan, you and I share the same DNA. Is there anything more lonely than that? Sound like you're in a cult.
It's just crazy how different people can be. Like I said, like Donald and his brother, it's totally, and that's what's funny. And I think because me and Zach relate more to Charlie Kaufman's character than we do on Donald, I don't know.
I did like it
Just
when he was
interesting.
talking to the screenwriter guy, and he was like, introduced himself. He's like, I'm the guy you yelled at this morning, and he's like, I need more.
I yell at a lot of people.
Yeah, he's like, I yell at a lot of people. He's like, I'm the guy who said nothing happens in life. He's like, oh, good.
He's like, oh, that one, yeah. Oh, man,
No, I
that's
love
great.
it too. After he just totally destroys him in front of everyone, Charlie Kaufman's like, oh, okay, thank you. And just sits down. I'm like, it's like the saddest moment ever. I was just like, it reminds me of Jordan with Dad. Anytime Dad will just like say something just super mean. Okay, Dad.
Oh, my leg hurts. I wonder if it's cancer. There's a bump. I'm starting to sweat. Stop sweating. He's like it's so pathetic and sad. I
love
so
too. He's
sad.
like saying all these horrible things to himself, and then she starts talking. He's like, you're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid. She can see your baldness. You're balding, and I'm like losing my hair. So like I'm like, oh my gosh, I relate so much. Like stressing all the times. Like if I'm like angled too much, like a girl's gonna see me balding, and then all of a sudden she's like, I think your script's wonderful, and it's just like breaks him out of that like negative thoughts. I love that stuff. So good, so relatable.
I can't believe I got shot. Isn't it effed up?
And he's like, stop laughing, stop laughing.
Stop laughing. Can't help it.
Stop laughing.
Just a little push in the. And Maggie Gyllenhaal, somehow that line worked on her. That was so dumb. I was like, what is happening right now?
Oh, so I've heard you say some things to girls, and I'm like, why are these girls laughing? But they laugh at everything you say. They're like, oh, you're the funniest person I've ever met.
Oh, it's morally reprehensible.
I sense a little resentment.
Maybe just a little bit of jealousy.
I did like when they're looking at the binoculars where they're spying on her across the building across the way, and they're like watching her. It's like, oh, and he can like read on her computer that she has like tickets to. I was like, what? Those binoculars? No way, dude. Like, anyway, it was just really funny though. That was great.
Yeah.
Any other quotes you
it's
guys
like,
had?
it's like, oh, did you see this guy's site? He's like, I'm gonna do some research. Don't tell my old lady. And she's like, what do you mean, Mom?
Oh man, it's crazy.
I love them. Oh
Dude,
my gosh,
also,
I love
okay,
Nicolas Cage.
I have a nitpick. Like, how the fudge did they just get to the airport at the exact same time to find her and like be able to follow her?
They
like,
found an earlier flight,
that's
Cameron.
the over
They
the
flew through
top
the
made
night.
up part. That's the whole point.
makes
Right.
literally no sense.
Or how they were able to park there for so long until she arrived and got into the van. Because I'll tell you
'cause
what,
you know those TSA.
I've been at a
psychopaths.
terminal. Yeah, move along. Unless you're actively picking up somebody, get moving. Yeah, get moving. Probably had a circle
Yeah.
around.
Oh no, they're coming out right now. I don't see them. Keep going. Keep moving. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, gotta keep moving. Gotta keep moving. Unless you're loading up a suitcase in your trunk, you gotta move along.
Those people work for frickin' Nazi Germany. Those are Hydra operatives undercover.
Guys, would you recommend Adaptation?
Yes.
If you like Charlie Kaufman movies, oh my gosh.
It's funny that you said it. Yeah, if you like Charlie Kaufman movies, yes. But I would recommend watching more accessible films. Would be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
First, yes.
Spotless
And
Mind's
then I
way
would even
better.
say, if you want to have so much fun watching John Malkovich,
is more
yes.
interesting than this.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I would argue. Yes.
Yeah, at least
No.
John
Yes.
Malkovich, I was like, this is so weird and terrible, but at least I'm entertained. This one is like, this is weird and terrible, and I'm bored on my mind.
Yes. and you know, it's funny, that we said that because John Malkovich reminded me a lot of The Possessor, which would be another fun movie to do
See,
on the podcast.
that's the
so
problem.
crazy.
Like, I feel like this film is a better overall film than being John Malkovich, but like I would not. It's kind of similar to like The Following, where it's like it's really good. I feel like film study and like really clever, kind of like taking
Yes.
shots at Hollywood.
Plot
but,
it's 2002. Yeah, that blows my mind. I'm like, this seems like a movie that would be made today.
but entertainment wise, kind of tough.
For sure, Cameron. I agree with that. Yeah, it is definitely more of a film as opposed to
A movie.
like popcorn. Yeah, movie. Exactly. It's a film. It's the cinema as opposed to the flick at the theaters. Yeah. Cinema as opposed to a
Being
flick
John
at the
Malkovich
theaters.
is something that his brother would make.
Yeah.
With just a randomest plot. They go inside his body, but then he can go inside his own mind.
He goes inside
Everyone
his
says
own
the
mind.
same thing. Something fetching Nick Cage
Oh my gosh,
directed.
that's
dude.
great.
Charlie Kaufman.
All
got
right,
this
folks.
freaking Inspiration.
So we end every podcast by sharing movies that we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing.
I saw Cruella because Tyler said it's really good. Another guy said from
Is it-
work said it was good.
Are you saying?
Theaters.
Did you say Cruella or did you say Cruella?
Cruella?
Sounds like you're saying Cruella.
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 It was fun watching it with Tatiana. She was like doing the voices of the lady afterwards, and
Emma Thompson or Emma Stone.
yeah. And the only thing I have to say about it is that I was just kind of bummed that they did a narration. She literally narrated everything you could see, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was starting to really infuriate me because I'm like, she's like,
You mean
and
like the movie Casino?
You mean like the movie you just watched?
no, but this one that's different. There's anyways.
The one we just watched is like
It's
his
different.
inner thoughts. Like you'd have no idea.
Yeah,
Even at
in
the end,
Cruella.
he's like, oh, I can't do. He's like, I can't do voiceover. That's bad. And I'm like, literally saying that in a voiceover.
Literally in a
Well,
voiceover.
well, it feels right.
It feels right.
Oh yeah, it feels right.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
I'm gonna do it anyway. It
Well,
feels
she
right.
just kept saying
It's so
like,
funny.
she's like, now I'm an orphan. I'm like, you literally just showed that. Like, you don't need to say it. I don't know. They just kept saying things.
I'd
that,
much rather see Quiet Place 2 than watch Cruella. I'll tell you.
oh,
that much.
and I watched that with Cameron too. Cameron, thoughts?
See, okay, so
Oh,
Jordan,
don't spoil anything. I haven't seen it.
Oh, don't spoil
I'm
it.
very excited to see it.
enjoyed
Please
I
do
enjoyed
not.
the first one more, but after I sat like in the theater, I was like, that was good. There's just like, I felt like it was kind of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2-esque, where it was just kind of copy paste with different scenery. And then
Right.
Jordan was like, I loved it. I loved it. And he just kept like emphasizing that in front of Grant and Elise. I loved it so much. And then after we leave the theater, he's like, yeah, I didn't like it. I gave it like a 5 or 6. I'm like, what the fuck?
No,
And Elise
what?
said, you were
I-
just like crucifying me in the theater
No,
for saying
I
that. I was like,
enjoyed
I did not, I was like, I did not
Hilarious.
think
What I
it was
said,
that good.
Jordan's like, I need Grant and Elise to think that they liked it, and then after he's like, yeah, let me tell you what I really think.
No, I
I was
enjoyed
like,
it.
what the
There was
fudge?
just there's just parts, and I want to get into those parts, but I don't want to spoil it yet for Ty. We'll do it next week.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I'll watch it this
If
week.
Cillian Murphy's not in the movie, oof. It's,
Oof,
I
yeah.
mean, it's
He
still,
is so
it's still
good.
good, but
He
it's
is amazing.
Not great.
I'm not surprised that he did good. I'm so excited because I've been riding high. Just watching the trailer from Thinking on 28 Days Later. Like I'm like, dude, it's so good to see him in something like
He
this
is so
again.
good.
Like he's great.
All right, Zach.
So,
So I think
all right, Zack,
my
what
favorite
have you seen
movie I've
lately?
seen in theaters lately is The Little Things.
Oh, I
Little
want to see it
things.
so bad.
It was good. Denzel
I'm excited to
Washington
see it.
and Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
So nothing to say about Wrath of Man. I see how it is, Zach.
I just went in with too high expectations.
Yes,
I
you
think.
you keep comparing all revenge
Well,
movies
yeah,
to
it's
I
like,
Saw the
we're going
Devil.
to go see a revenge movie. I'm like, oh, I Saw the Devil. This is going to be another I Saw the Devil. It's going to be amazing.
No, stop comparing it.
no, yeah, definitely not on I Saw the Devil comparison, but it was good. I will say I'm so grateful I didn't see the trailer. Zach, did you watch the trailer for Wrath of Man?
No, I didn't.
Good.
Okay, if you watched the trailer,
It spoils
you probably
everything.
would have been let down more
Wow.
because watching the trailer, I was like, they shot it like a Guy Ritchie film, and I'm like, I know the guys that cut the trailer had a great time doing that, but I was like, it is not a truthful
not,
representation.
yeah.
It's almost like as watching the trailer for Drive as it would to go see the film Drive with
Yeah.
Well, it's because they portrayed it like The Gentleman.
what's his
but it's
name?
Nothing like The Gentleman.
Ryan Gosling. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes. They made it
Which
look
is-
like your
yeah,
other
they're like,
Guy
oh, it's
Ritchie
another-
films,
yeah,
but
it's
this is
another
the
The Gentleman.
This is like a self-serious,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
look
that
in
is
the
not
face.
The
you know,
Gentleman,
yeah.
bro. The Gentleman,
Yeah,
I was
that is-
laughing
yeah.
like every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Like every
yeah,
5
yeah.
minutes.
And it literally gets meta, kind of like Adaptation in the sense that I can't believe I'm comparing The Gentleman to Adaptation, but
Don't
yeah, it's like
ever
he
again,
talks about
please.
writing this screen. Yeah, no, but it's like he literally talks about the.
I
it's
see
like,
it,
oh, your
Ty.
movie
I know
needs
what you're
an
talking
ending. Yeah. At the very end, what's his name? Not Guy Ritchie. I keep calling him Guy Ritchie. Hugh
Hey, Jordan,
Grant.
this movie kind of reminds me of Requiem for a Dream and Blade Runner.
Oh, I love those movies. So good.
You have the weirdest taste in movies, man. Anything you're looking?
Just more Jared Leto. Is that?
Yeah,
anything
Mr.
you were
Nobody.
looking, Zach? Is there any movies that you're looking forward to seeing?
I don't know. I've got like a giant list I need to work my way through still. Every time we watch a movie, we start watching trailers for more movies, and then it just adds to it.
That's because you're with the trailer junkie. That man watches more trailers than ever.
I might be worse. I might be getting worse than him. I've shown everybody.
I believe it.
My favorite trailer is for Holy Motors. I've shown, I think, everyone I know that trailer.
I'll have to check that. I've never heard of it.
It's
the
wild.
trailer's great.
film.
I don't know if you'll like the movie. It's very interesting and fun, but it takes a
Some
certain
trailers
audience.
are so exciting. Yeah, no, certain trailers are so fun and exciting. Like, I would even say that Guy Ritchie film, another good example was King Arthur. That trailer was dope. That song they used.
Okay,
It was a great trailer.
King
And the
Arthur
movie?
even had some sick moments, but it turned into a video game real quick.
All right, Zach's got to get going. Sorry, Ty.
I
Let's wrap
have
this
2
up.
All right,
minutes
folks.
left. 1 minute left.
Yeah. I don't know why you're rushing, but everybody, thanks for tuning into Futro Movies. Please, Hidden Movie Gems, leave us an email, futuromovies@gmail.com. Tell us a movie that you'd like us to review, or tell us where we got a review wrong.
Check us
Tell
out
us,
on Spotify.
Or
and
tell us
Patreon.
if you want more Charlie Kaufman movies with Zach.
Charlie Kaufman
Please,
movies with Zach. Yeah. I want Zach on again, but maybe we do a different avenue of movies. But
Have me on for a happy movie. I won't know what to say.
yeah, exactly. Like, this movie depressed me, man. Everyone's so happy.
I just feel
Couldn't
lied
relate to
to.
anybody. I was lied to, and he was eating himself the whole time. Who could have predicted that? So everybody, thanks for.
Actually, they were all the same person, though.
They're all the same person. Yeah. So everybody, thanks for tuning in, and like us on YouTube, and like us and follow us, and you guys stay safe out there. This is Future Hidden Movie Gem signing out. Peace.
Peace.
Bye. I'm fat. I'm ugly.
I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm all alone. I'm done for. Washed up.